And it's not gonna be just a "see what Kiyosaki said" video. Son, stop kicking around the ball in the yard. You'd better invest in the stock market. But the currencies of developing countries are gonna become even cheaper. So if you're not an American, the dollar can also be a good protective asset. Glad to welcome you to the CoinPost channel. The more dollars they print, the higher should be the demand for assets with limited issuance. And the first to come to mind are gold and Bitcoin. To my understanding, the order should be completely different. Bitcoin first and only then gold. But that's not what this is about. Robert Kiyosaki, who's considered a financial guru, has also joined this movement and advises buying gold and Bitcoin. He did a series of tweets which he divided into 5 lessons on surviving a crisis. And it's not gonna be just a "see what Kiyosaki said" video. We're gonna discuss his lessons, agree with something, make some necessary clarifications, and even dispute some of the things. Pay close attention, watch this video till the end, and while we're giving an intro, it's time to join our community by clicking the subscribe button. Let's get started. Robert's first lesson goes like this. You have to change your mindset because the crisis begins in your head. Parents teach us we have to go to school, pay taxes, save up money, not get into debt, and invest in the stock market. And people with these thoughts are at high financial risk today and in the future. What does this mean? Let's not address the school and paying taxes yet, because we will discuss those later in separate topics. Besides, I don't remember being taught to invest in the stock market. What about you? Have you ever had something like, "Son, stop kicking around the ball in the yard. You'd better invest in the stock market"? Well, let's leave the past behind, but talk about what these words mean. Kiyosaki says that we were promised this formula for a happy life, but then a crisis comes and you realize it doesn't work. After all, jobs disappeared and the investments deprecated. I'd say that you gotta add 2 clarifications to this formula, as follows. Don't just save money, but be sure to create a financial airbag to have security for 6 months without a job. And don't only invest in the stock market, but do it wisely, by recording the profit before the crisis and going into protective assets, and then returning to the market at the lowest prices. If you do it, then it'll be possible to relax and earn money in the crisis. But this is a whole different story. As to the first lesson, Kiyosaki is right about one thing. You cannot live accordingly to the program. It's crucial to monitor the changes in the world and adapt accordingly. In his second lesson, Kiyosaki recommends going to school to get some knowledge. However, it's not about classical education. Robert is pretty skeptical about it, because they don't teach us anything about money. Instead, the financial guru suggests studying for free from the real masters on YouTube. He gives a list of such teachers like Max Kaiser, Peter Schiff, Ray Dalio, and others. As to this lesson, I want you to get this one correctly. You don't have to drop out of school or say, "My college gives me nothing, I'd better go and watch the videos on YouTube." No, it's a bunch of nonsense, and I'm sure that Kiyosaki would agree with me on this, because schools provide essential skills, without which you won't be able to count your money without difficulty. And your university gives you the ability to learn, to understand what information you need, how to find it, how to distinguish a high-quality textbook from cheap fiction, and how to apply your new knowledge. It's the first point. Secondly, watching YouTube will never make you a professor of economics, even if you check out all the videos of Ray Dalio. By the way, Ray himself graduated from the University of Long Island with a bachelor's degree and then got a master's at Harvard Business School. And he did it not because there was no YouTube when he was a child, but because having professional education really matters. On YouTube, you can learn such things as an understanding of how to act, how to move forward, and most importantly, whether you need it at all. And yes, on the web, you can, through trial and error, find really high-quality courses in programming, web design, 3D modeling, and other professions that will let you work remotely and get income in the current crisis. But watching one video doesn't make you a specialist yet. No, you will have to spend a lot of time and effort into this. And it would be nice if you had all the knowledge you got from school and college in your background. The third one is called Get a Job. Kiyosaki claims that his rich dad from the well-known book never needed a job because he created jobs. And his antagonist, Poor Dad, believed he was safe as an employee, which according to Robert is an incredibly wrong approach in the face of a future crisis. Kiyosaki then gives 3 reasons for becoming an entrepreneur. You create jobs, you don't need a job, and you don't need Wall Street for retirement. He also finds that real entrepreneurs know how to create their assets and provides an example of being a person who creates books, games, and blogs. And now, getting back to cold hard reality, becoming an entrepreneur today, when the whole business is going crazy, almost screaming it was abandoned and it's time to shut down for good, that's one hell of advice. An exception today would be going online, because even in a crisis, a modern man is willing to give up an extra hamburger just to pay for the internet. But it doesn't mean that they are waiting for you, for example, to be a YouTube blogger. Here's the truth about online business today on the example of YouTube. It's not just getting out and doing some crap on the camera or shooting how you play your favorite video game. The market has been saturated for a long time now, and to find a niche in it, you need to either put a bunch of dough in advertising or work on creating your own brand for 2 or 3 years, or maybe more, and still, there's no guarantee. Besides, in a crisis, you need to get money here and now, but it's not like that. Just read the conditions for joining the YouTube Partner Program, and your rose-colored glasses will disappear right away. Therefore, if you want to be heading towards online business, you first need to analyze the market. Find those in the field who are already successful and are making money. Next, offer them your services. But don't do it like, "Hi, got a cool project, how about paying me a salary?" Because such smart asses are standing in a huge line, hidden around the corner. You gotta make an offer they cannot refuse. You should do an initial analysis, determine what skills will be useful for the project to prove it's gonna let them increase revenues. They are looking for such people. And once you complete lesson 3 from Kiyosaki and get a stable job, you can start your own project in order to move into the cast of entrepreneurs in the future. Speaking of projects, we can use your like, so if you're enjoying the video, give it a thumbs up. The 4th lesson is about taxes, because Warren Buffett pays less in taxes than his secretary. After all, Buffett is an entrepreneur, and the secretary is an employee. This crisis will be great for entrepreneurs, not employees. Kiyosaki goes on saying that the government provides enormous tax incentives to Google as an entrepreneur so that its employees keep paying their taxes. For this very reason, tax laws for entrepreneurs are always better than for employees. And as you understand, we should look into this one too. Does Warren Buffett pay less in taxes than his secretary? Of course not, if we look at the figures. But if you look at the percentage of income that went into taxes, Buffett is clearly the winner, because the entrepreneur has various options for reducing taxes within the law, and decent countries such as the United States encourage such trends. After all, entrepreneurs create jobs. Moreover, the US exempts businesses from taxes during the crisis, as long as they do not shut down and continue paying salaries. Then their employees are gonna continue to pay taxes and will not rush to the labor exchange to get benefits, which just goes to prove that it's legal to pay less tax. And the last 5th lesson from Robert. I'm not gonna argue here, but just clarify something. It just goes like this. You need to save money, because the Fed is now printing trillions of dollars. Therefore, Kiyosaki suggests buying gold as the money from God and Bitcoin as people's money. Well, in his further tweets, he would add silver to this list. It kinda makes sense, transferring funds to defensive assets with limited emission, but I wanna add a few things here. Firstly, subscribing to our channel is an excellent defensive asset. It's free, and you get a lot of valuable information in return, especially if you click the bell, not to miss the new episodes. Secondly, it's in the US that dollar is gonna be dying from inflation, but the currencies of developing countries are gonna become even cheaper. So if you're not an American, the dollar can also be a good protective asset. Now, as for the gold, silver and Bitcoin, keep in mind that during a crisis, the main asset is cash, for which you buy food, medicine, clothes, etc. But gold and Bitcoin are more likely an investment. Therefore, first of all, make sure that you have enough money for a living, and only then enter the market. And that would be it for today. Thanks for watching the Coin Post channel. Subscribe and get enlightened.